Hi, I'm Kearsten, teen librarian from the Glendale Main Library, here to celebrate Pride Month again this week with our teen story time. It's also summer reading time, and the theme is Tales and Tales, which is why one of my tales, Nix, is here to help me remind you to sign up for summer reading. Today we're reading Once and Future by Amy Rose Capetta and Corey McCarthy, a sci-fi retelling of the Arthurian Legend in which Ari, a 17-year-old young woman in outer space, accidentally draws the sword and gets catapulted into the legend. Hi, I'm Kearsten, teen librarian from the Glendale Main Library, here continuing to celebrate Pride Month this week with Teen Storytime. It's also summer reading, and the theme is Tales and Tales, which is why one of my tales, Nix, is here to help me read Once and Future, which is a queer retelling of the Arthurian myth. Ari is a teenage girl in outer space many, many years from now, and she's hiding out from an evil corporation, goes to old Earth, pulls the sword from the stone, and Merlin tries to convince her to live out the legend. So without further ado, Once and Future, the first chapter. Not you, Nix, me. Lost and found. Ari was hiding out in the Middle Ages. The rubber knight's costume she wore squeaked with each movement and smelled like her brother before he'd embraced deodorant. "This is a weird spot, Kay," Ari said through the slits of the visor on the knight's helmet. She stiffly turned to take in the glass cases bursting with period drama. Mannequins in knight regalia, sweating horses, and piercing swords. Off to the side, hook-nosed and formidable, was the lone figure labeled Merlin. "It's the best old Earth myth," Kay muttered, going over the grocery list on his watch. "Don't you remember our classes on Lionel? Arthur was the one true king who saved his people from the Dark Ages. He gave a voice to all righted wrongs, made a round table, so that no single person will be at the head, an equal voice for all." An equal voice for all, plus he's the one true king? Sounds like delicious hypocrisy. Kay blew out in an annoyed breath. "No one comes in here, Ari. It is a good secret spot." Ari let him have that one, reminding herself that while this place felt like a harmless museum in a forgotten wing of a giant floating mall, it was also ground zero for the Mercer Company. The Starship Heritage was the Galactic Corporation's flagship, teeming with associates who would arrest her as soon as sell her a souvenir. She teetered back around in the stiff suit to face her brother. "How did you ever train in this thing at night camp without peripheral vision?" "Knights don't need peripheral vision. They need chivalry." Ari snorted so hard her visor flew up. Kay smacked it back down. "And the ability to realize they should not draw attention to themselves." "Really? That plaque over there says chivalry gave birth to toxic masculinity, which caused old Earth a few millennia of bullshit patriarchy." "Are you seriously picking fights right now?" Kay asked. "You've got to lie low. I've got to get supplies. Don't make me wish I left you on air." "You couldn't. Mercer's doing random spot checks in the parking docks." "I could have stuffed you in a trunk." "The patrols would look there." Her big brother picked up her rubber-gloved hand and slapped a coin in it. "Go. Over there. Let me think, will you?" He pointed to a telescope by the nearest window. Ari Squeak walked toward it. She dropped the coin in the slot and pushed up the visor enough to peer out at the main attraction on Heritage, Mercer's most popular shopping and tourist destination, the view. Ari squinted through the telescope. Up close, old Earth was downright puny. Only a few thousand miles from the planet, and she could not figure out what was so sacred. She zoomed in, and the blue and white marble revealed green and brown clumps. When Kay stomped over on his mag boots, she asked, "Is that all the land?" "Can't be." "There were ice caps in its heyday," Kay said. "Less water, more land." "Cradle of civilization, my ass." "Hey!" Her brother grinned at her, a maniacal, desperate, "oh my gods, just listen to me" look. "Keep your voice down, okay? That planet means a lot to most people." Ari glanced at the crowds just outside the museum wing, taking in old Earth from the observation deck. The space rats were easy enough to rub elbows with, even if they were over-emotional at the sight of the retired planet. They were like Kay, born on ships and tailored in patchwork flight suits. The other humans, the crisp, smooth, elite Mercer Company patrons, were more unnerving. And Ari? She didn't belong in either camp. Kay eyed a pair of mall cops in stark white Mercer uniforms as they made their rounds. "Help me finish the list. We need to get out of here." He pushed his silvery gray hair from his scalp, and it arced damply over his brow. Her brother was doing what he always did under pressure, thinking with his stomach. "Do you like those protein preserves, the garlicky ones?" They made your breath stink up the entire ship for days.
So 3 cases?
Ari side-eyed him and he added, plus breath mints. And for the cake, chocolate this year? I don't need a cake, Kay. 10 years is a big deal. I vote chocolate. I eat most of it anyway. Kay hadn't even glanced out the window. Old Earth was old hat to Ari's adoptive brother. He'd been on board Heritage a bunch of times as a kid and claimed to be over the view. Still, whenever their provisions ran low, Kay set course for this exact starship, no matter how far away they were. How many times did you come here with our parents? Salt wounds, he gruffed, confirming Ari's theory that this place reminded him of better times, before his moms had taken in Ari and they had all had to start dodging Mercer. Ari turned her telescope to the motley cratered moon. Unlike old Earth, it had been overrun by domed colonies named after ancient vehicular gods. Each one featured its name and mascot in great glowing letters. Even from this distance, a neon ram's head charged through a wall over and over, the letters Dodge blinking. Hey, we should stop there on our way out, she said, pointing to the overrun moon with its billboards more brilliant than the stars. Live shows, dance halls, oxygen bars, something called an Elvis. When was the last time we went dancing, Kay? Kay snapped his fingers in front of the telescope, and for a second the automatic focus zoomed out dizzily and gave her a view of the powder granules of orange cheese from his favorite tortilla chips. Ari lifted her face, watching a drop of sweat travel down Kay's cheek to his scruffy chin. Stop sweating. They'll think you're sick or hiding secret catchin' in the medieval times section. Hilarious, Ari, truly. Kay wiped his face with his forearm. Tell me, are you able to stop your body from sweating on command? Ari squinted. I haven't tried. Maybe? Look, don't move from this spot while I pick up our supplies. Don't talk to a soul, and if you must, lie, Ari. I want you speaking eloquent, exquisite, capitalistic lies. Repeat after me. Mercer is my king, my god, my salvation. I love to shop till I drop. Ari's lips pruned. She'd make herself sick uttering such nonsense. I'll stay put. He put his hands on her shoulders. Worry folded his adorably brutish forehead into lines. If something goes weird, run. Don't take off an error. Don't wait. Promise. He put his hands on her shoulders. Worry folded his adorably brutish forehead into lines. If something goes weird, run. Take off an error. Don't wait. Promise? I got it, Kay, she said, flipping past promises she'd never keep. Ari clapped Kay's shoulder before he headed out of the museum exhibit and down the stairs that led to the heart of the mall. Ari moved to the balcony to watch him go, taking in a bird's-eye view of bleached consumerism. The ceramic tiled walls and floor were white. So were the identical Mercer storefronts, the symbols for grocery, pharmacy, clothes, and spaceship hardware among the most visible. Worst of all, even the light pouring from the lofted ceiling was blinding and pale, the kind she couldn't look straight into without wincing, which was exactly what Mercer wanted. Don't look at us looking at you, Ari murmured, her nerves prickling. She couldn't blame Kay for sweating in this place. The Mercer Company didn't mess around. 10 years ago, the Mercer Company placed a barrier around Planet Ketch, sealing everyone in. Their response to the Ketchens, who had begun speaking out against the company's monopolistic tyranny. Not even communications could pass through. The Mercer Company proclaimed that the Ketchens had become hostile, that they were bad for the economy, and therefore must be walled off. Mercer had become more than just a greedy corporation with a monopoly on goods and services for the entire galaxy. They were the galaxy. They controlled everything from people's food to healthcare to the freaking government. Around the same time that Ketch got walled off, Kay's moms found 7-year-old Ari abandoned, starved, afloat in a piece of space trash. They'd taken her in, loved her. They'd even tried to find a way to get her through the barrier and back home to Ketch, and gotten arrested in the process. That was 3 years ago, when Ari was 14, and there hadn't been any word since. They could have died in a Mercer prison or on a factory planet. Kay said not knowing was the easiest part. That was his favorite lie. Welcome to Heritage Mall. Ari managed not to shout. The words came from the image of the Mercer Company's CEO, known only as the Administrator, whose bust was now projected above her watch screen. We're so glad you can join us today on Heritage. All pilgrimages to Old Earth are rewarded with a 20% discount on souvenirs and government documents. The man's blank eyes and digitally smooth skin hinted at intrigue, explicit knowledge, and caustic mischief. Ari wondered if he looked that way to everyone or just her. Whether you're in the market for a keepsake pebble from terra firma or a quickie divorce, the Mercer Company is at your service. The administrator's face disappeared. Ari swore inside her smelly rubber nightsuit and silenced her watch. It's just a pop-up ad, she murmured to herself. He's not actually on the starship. It's just an ad. Look, my sweets, a knight! An elderly couple swept into the Middle Ages display as swift as a pair of roaches. They were on top of her in a moment, groping her suit all up in her personal space. Hey, she shouted. No touching! Unfazed, the old man with dyed dark hair held up his watch. Can I take a picture of you with my wife? We honeymooned on Lionel more than 50 solar cycles ago, back when the planet was much more Mercer-friendly, you understand. The sprightly old lady posed on Ari's arm, and all of a sudden Ari was seeing spots from a brilliant bang of light. What the? Spotlight flash erases all shadows and lines digitally before the picture is even taken. The woman chuckled. It is a bit bright. Take mine now, the elderly man yelled, handing off the watch to his wife, gripping Ari and repeating the blinding bioluminescence. Now let's do one with the sword. Ari snuck a fist inside her helmet to rub her stinging irises while he pulled her toward the only display in the museum that wasn't roped off. A golden, bejeweled sword stuck out of the stone in the center of the fake cobbled courtyard. Its handle was worn with smudges and dirty fingerprints. Gross. How many people had yanked on it since the last time it had been cleaned? Give it a tug. I'll stand by and act surprised like, oh heavens, we've got ourselves a new King Arthur, he shouted. Ari sighed and gripped the handle. At least the galaxy worth of germs was only getting on Kay's old rubber armor. When the flash shattered the air once again, she gave the sword a heartless tug. It didn't budge. Sorry, pal, looks like we're stuck in the Dark Ages. He waved her words away like they were annoying liberal chatter and beckoned for his wife to come over. Now you take our picture, he ordered. Ari held out her hand for their seriously large watch while they got in position. Her eyes caught on the platinum diamond on the back of the denoted Elite Mercer status, the shining proof that this piece of tech had access to what most people's did not. How easy would it be to type a few words and find out what kept both Kay and her awake in this night of deep space? Ari glanced at the couple. They were discussing who should stand where, dissolving into a full-on argument. Can I check out the photos you've taken? Sure, hon, the woman said. She elbowed her husband out of the way in order to give the sword her own series of entitled tugs. Ari opened the universe-wide web and typed in the search bar. She didn't think about what kind of alarms might fly up when she entered in her adoptive mother's names. She didn't care. She would give anything to hand Kay some answers, a bandage for their wounds. Besides, what were the odds that Mercer was watching this particular platinum account at this exact moment? She tapped enter, and the Mercer Company emblem spun lazily before blinking wide open with information on her parents' arrests. It listed their names, date of birth, planet or spaceship of birth, and their joint status, incarcerated, deceased, blank. They're still alive, Ari breathed, hardly believing it. She clicked on location, but a flaring red light darkened the screen. Ari dropped the watch, spun on her long legs, and ran from the blinking warning. Remain stationary. Mercer Associates are coming to assist you. Ari ripped off the night costume and slid into the command chair on error. That's just some of Once and Future by Amy Rose Capetta and Corey McCarthy, a queer retelling of the Arthurian myth set in space. I hope you enjoy. Bye.